Dear friends, welcome to yet another installment of Strategic Power. Tensions between China and Taiwan are increasing more and more. It seems that Taiwan is planning to fire missiles in an area called Hubei Province to protect itself. The goal of this supposed plan would not be to destroy China from the outside in, but from the inside out. The island of Taiwan is 180 kilometers southwest of China. It is a small area of 36,000 square kilometers with close to 23 million inhabitants. Although it has an independent government, it is claimed by mainland China as a rebel province. A hypothetical plan emerged in Taiwan with the goal of harming China's energy heartland, which owns the world's largest hydroelectric plant, the Three Gorges Dam. This dam is fed by the Yangtze River, China's longest river and the third longest in the world, with 6,300 kilometers in length, starting at Mount Kulin and emptying into the East China Sea. Taiwanese specialists and military personnel are discussing this unofficial plan. They increased funding for powerful long-range missiles that can hit Shanghai, Canton, and the Three Gorges Dam. In 2008, Taiwan had already tested missiles with a range greater than 1,000 kilometers, which would be almost the distance between Taipei, Taiwan's capital, and the Chinese city of Wuhan. Taiwan is at a disadvantage in a direct confrontation with China. China has 2 million active military personnel, possessing the world's largest army, while Taiwan has close to 120,000 native military personnel in its army and marine corps. In 2023, China carried out a simulated air blockade of Taiwan using jets carrying live ammunition, and its aircraft carrier, the Shandong, participated in those exercises near Taiwanese territory. Given the imminent conflict, a hypothetical possibility would be the use of cruise or ballistic missiles to hit the Three Gorges Dam. It is believed that the advanced version of these missiles has a range of at least 1,200 kilometers, which would represent the possible radius to be reached by the area of Taiwan's missiles reaching the dam. However, 1,200 kilometers is only the beginning. The Xiongfeng 6, a supersonic cruise missile under development, can have a range of up to 2,000 kilometers, going beyond the city of Ezhou. If a Taiwanese attack were successful, the dam's high water capacity could result in the overflow of close to 40 trillion liters of water, flooding cities like Shanghai, Nanjing, and Wuhan. The damage would be catastrophic, especially considering that in the Yangtze River Delta, where the dam is located, there is a high urban concentration with 16 cities on the river's banks, including Shanghai, with 26 million inhabitants. In total, the population in this region can reach 210 million inhabitants, a quantity comparable to Brazil's population. Although this plan is only an assumption, we can speculate on the damage using tangible facts. During the 2020 monsoon rains, precipitation levels were the highest in at least 60 years, resulting in major floods that affected close to 20 million people, according to the South China Morning Post. Historically, the Yangtze River suffered several serious floods. In 1954, a 193 square kilometer flood caused the death of more than 33,000 people in Hubei Province and forced the evacuation of more than 19 million. Similar incidents occurred in 1911 and 1935, resulting in the death of close to 245,000 people. A real example of dam rupture occurred in 1975 in Henan Province at the Banqiao Dam, where floods caused by Typhoon Nina resulted in the loss of 230,000 lives. Therefore, given the colossal scale of the Three Gorges Dam, the damage would potentially be much greater than these examples. Let's map out this situation. After the dam rupture, the water would devastate several districts and cities, starting with Sanduping and then Yichang, where close to 4 million people live. Then, the Zhongxiang, Yidu, and Zhongxiang districts would likely be completely ravaged by the force of the water. About 130 kilometers from the Three Gorges Dam, the city of Jingzhou, with approximately 5 million inhabitants, would also be hit. The water would then reach Yueyang, with another 5 million inhabitants, and later could reach Wuhan, 350 kilometers away. Wuhan, with its 11 million inhabitants, has the Yangtze River dividing the city in half. After wreaking havoc in Wuhan, the cities of Jiujiang, Anqing, and Guangxi would be affected, impacting close to 9.5 million people. After devastating other smaller cities, the water would arrive in Nanjing, Zhenjiang, Nantong, and finally the largest city, Shanghai, totaling close to 56 million possibly impacted Chinese. If an attack like this were to happen, Taiwan would certainly face several problems. Although this plan may seem truthful and applicable, it is important to remember that similar strategies have already been used in history, as during World War II. The Allies had a plan to destroy German dams during Operation Chastity, led by the British Royal Air Force, which aimed at the Eder Dam, north of Hesse, Germany. With a fleet of 19 British bombers, they used a special bomb known as a bouncing bomb, designed to hit the walls of dams, sink and explode at the base, thus damaging the structure. However, it is important to note that this mission took place in 1943, close to 80 years ago. Dam construction technology has evolved significantly since then. The Three Gorges Dam is almost 6 times taller than the German dams of 1943 and close to 3.5 times longer. In addition, the average storage in the German dams was 32 billion litres, while in the Three Gorges Dam it is 40 trillion litres. Another problem Taiwan could face is possible global punishment by the International Court of Justice. In 1977, the Geneva Convention established Article 56 of Protocol 1, which prohibits attacks on dams, dikes, dams and reservoirs, even if they are considered military targets, due to the risk of releasing enough water to cause severe harm to civilians. However, if a Chinese attack were to happen, it is unlikely that the country would respect the Geneva Convention's codes and standards. Also, it is important to remember that Taiwan is only recognized by 12 countries, and a global controversy like this could further tarnish its image, reducing the chances of international recognition and sympathy. In addition, Taiwan has some protections. As the world's largest semiconductor producer, a crucial material for computers and most electronics, sanctions against Taiwan could directly harm other nations' economies and development, since the largest semiconductor company is located there. Therefore, the imposition of sanctions against Taiwan may also be an unknown. Regarding possible outcomes, there are 4 scenarios that can be considered. The first is the continuation of the current situation, with Taiwan not being recognized as an autonomous island from China, thus remaining so for an indeterminate period. The second scenario would be a peaceful unification, in which China and Taiwan would reach an agreement for peaceful union, with Taiwan maintaining a high degree of autonomy, similar to what happens with other metropolitan regions in China. The third scenario would be Taiwan's formal independence, which would result in its international recognition, but could provoke a military response from China. And the last scenario would be a direct confrontation between the two. If this were to happen, Taiwan's hypothetical plan could become a reality. Should Taiwan launch a preemptive attack on China's Three Gorges Dam to defend itself, even if this may cause a humanitarian catastrophe? Leave me your opinion in the comments.